Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And very good evening to you and welcome to Newsline Live. And with all the vaccines being used up and the announcement that the President has asked the powers that be to start vaccinating the rest of the population, utilizing the fact that we don't have to wait to do the second dose in 3 weeks, but it's now about 12 weeks. Amongst all that, there is this controversy, if you like, as to who should or shouldn't be getting the initial jab from the initial 500,000 vaccines that arrived in the country. Our guest this evening is himself a recipient of that vaccine, and let's find out how he feels after having had that vaccine. He's of course none other than the Member of Parliament, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody. Very good evening to you.
Good evening, Faraz.
How is it? Did you get it on the left arm, right arm?
I got it on the left arm.
And how do you feel?
Well, I don't feel feverish or I don't feel anything strongly different.
Right. Did you get it on the basis that you're a Member of Parliament?
Yes, we were asked to come.
Right.
So it is a decision that the health authorities, rather the health experts, take as to who gets priority.
What's the rationale? Why should parliamentarians get it before the general public?
Well, it's determined, like I said, by the health experts. Yeah. The priorities are lined up by them. Right. I personally think that what is most important is to prevent.
Right.
So there are many who can be carriers. Mm-hmm. Among them, parliamentarians are also there. But I personally believe we must prevent children getting it. So the teachers must be given priority, and then the school bus drivers, school bus conductors, three-wheeler drivers, that category must be given priority, because if a child gets, there is no vaccination for children under 18 years. Mm-hmm. And if a child gets it, invariably the mother and then the family will get it.
The spread is quicker.
It's quicker. So the responsibility of everyone should be to prevent the spread. So those who mingle with society, those who mingle with many, should be vaccinated, and spread must be prevented.
Now, is there a move to not give from the initial arrival of the vaccine, the 500,000, is it true that there is a move not to administer that vaccine to people who are over 60, but instead to do it for people who are between the ages of 30 and 60?
Well, that has been the decision taken by the health experts.
Right.
But I see some logic in it, because the people who belong to the working class, they move about. Right. They tend to mix around. They
presumably
can
what
spread.
Presumably what you mean is that over 60s don't work.
No. Over 60s must be also given.
Yeah.
But the criteria,
the priority,
when setting up priority, should be to control the spread.
Right.
Because Sri Lanka, you must understand, comes within first 10 countries that has been controlling COVID in the world. So we must, I think the main reason has been the fact that it was the health authorities who took the decision, not the politicians.
Right.
Not any other people.
Right.
So long as health authorities are given a free hand to take decisions and change as they look at it as professionals, we will be able to maintain a positive position as a country, because it matters a lot, especially Sri Lanka is a country that has to promote tourism.
Yeah.
So when attracting tourists, we should be in a position to say to the world, look here, come to Sri Lanka is safe.
Right.
We fall within that category. So I strongly believe from day one I've been telling, the only way out is to give the vaccination. Entire population must be given. But at the same time, we must see to it that it's given to those who can be effective carriers.
Right.
Like even the fishermen.
Yeah.
I think fishermen must be given priority as well, because they
But
will.
actually, if you start looking at it like that, everybody is a priority.
No, everybody
Ideas
is a priority, but those who get exposed
the higher
to-
risk.
to more people
Right.
should be given priority.
Now, I hear what you say, but in a lot of countries all over the world, in fact, in Britain, where the Oxford, the AstraZeneca was first developed and so on, the focus has been, in the beginning, it was on the elderly or the people over 60, well, older than 60 over there, and those with underlying health issues. Now, surely Sri Lanka can't be any different from those statistics.
Well, in certain things, we can follow what the UK or the Britain has been following.
Yeah.
But in this respect, we are far ahead of them. If you get the number of infected and the number of deaths, we are far ahead. So I don't think it's
So they've got it wrong.
absolutely. I don't think it's advisable for us to follow blindly what they have followed. I mean, whatever that whatever.
Were you not
would-
one-time deputy foreign minister?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't. Sorry, must be somebody else who's thinking about. But don't you think that as member of parliament, and you saying this with responsibility that they've got it wrong?
Yes.
There you go. The UK ambassador get in touch with you now and find out why you're saying that. But nothing. Okay. Do you agree though that the people over 60 should have to wait even longer?
No, they also must be given.
You know?
Yeah.
There are, okay, before the younger ones start phoning me up, there are exceptions, but I'm saying the average age is over 60. So what about them? You're just forgetting about
No,
them?
no. What I feel is we must give my personal opinion is
Yeah.
we must allow the private sector to import and allow those who can afford to get the injection on payment must be given an opportunity.
Yeah.
Then the state doesn't have to shoulder this burden.
Yeah.
So I believe the government will look into that as well. So that way we will be able to vaccinate effectively, faster, and without a cost to the government.
And I just want to move to another controversy that's making the rounds now. And this comes to you nicely because you are a former Minister of Petroleum. And there's reports to say that India denies claims that Trincomalee, the upper tank farm deal with Sri Lanka has been scrapped. Has it not been scrapped? Has it been scrapped? What's the real story?
Well, I heard, I think the present minister was misled. I heard him on TV saying that there was an agreement that has been entered into in 2017.
Yeah.
In 2017, there was no agreement that was entered into during the time I was the minister.
I
But
see.
the agreement has been entered into in 2003
Right,
during Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's time.
right.
The tank farm was given to India on a contract for 33 years. But when I was minister, I got a few legal opinion. I saw defects in the agreement.
Right.
But at the same time, since it's an agreement entered into between two countries,
Yeah.
especially with our big brother India,
Yeah.
we have to be very careful in handling it diplomatically. But at the same time,
Yeah.
we will not, my personal belief is, we should not do anything that will have any impact on our sovereignty, integrity, and Sri Lankan independence. So my task that time was to at least get, initially I wanted at least 15 tanks, but when according to the experts, the engineers of CPC, they informed me that even with 8 tanks in hand, we will be able to save a lot of money. So based on that, we prepared a proposal we allocated funds, and then I went to the cabinet. Cabinet approval was granted for that. But subsequent to that, there was a subsequent paper submitted by then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to rescind the cabinet decision. And thereafter, we couldn't proceed with the proposal to acquire tanks to the CPC, and if necessary, where necessary, to develop the balance with the IOC or with any other counterpart. So what I wanted was to maintain a footprint, because the strategically this location is very important. If you go back to the history, this was built by the British due to the fact that it's situated in a strategic position. And in 1948, when we got independence, tank farm was not given by the British to the Sri Lankan government with independence. It is late SWRD Bandaranaike who paid, if I may remember, 235,000 sterling pounds and bought it from them
So
to the government of Sri Lanka.
We
had to buy back our own land. So that is, I mean, it was
amazing bit of colonialism.
Yeah, and the fact that SWRD Bandaranaike brought in freedom to the country, because all the strategic points and strategically important businesses that were held by the foreigners and the multinationals were acquired back to the government.
You speak eloquently of what Mr. Bandaranaike did, and I see your point. How do you feel then that when successive governments are going around trying to virtually sell off our strategic assets?
Well, I mean, as Sri Lankan, we must understand we are here today. We are only trustees.
Absolutely.
We are not owners of this country. There are people, there are children, and there are so many who are yet to be born. So this country belongs to all of them. So we have to see to it that they are safe. I mean, whatever that was secured by SWRD Bandaranaike at the cost of his life. Now we understand, we feel he had to pay off because of his decision to acquire such strategic assets held by the multinationals. But with all that, we have to be very careful. I mean, at the same time, you must understand, we are a country that fought for 3 decades. We fought for 3 decades for the integrity, sovereignty of our country. We fought. Why did we fight? Both sides, people, young people from both sides died. What did we want? We wanted to protect our unitary state. So Sri Lankan thinking is that. So as government, we must understand, as successive governments we should understand, as politicians we should understand, we must be in a position to cater to the expectations of the Sri Lankan people. I'm not against investment coming in. Any investment can come in. And I'm not against any particular country. We must maintain international relations. We must be friends with India. We must be friends with China likewise, and then with the Britain, US, Europe, even with Africa, Middle East. We have been known as a
friends with all, enemies with none.
None. And we have been a non-aligned country. During Mrs. Bandaranaike's time, we initiated that movement. So I think that's because since we are situated in a strategic location, such maintenance of international relations is very important. So I believe we will be able to do that in time to come.
Right. And there we go. It's now time for the headlines about what is in store for the primetime news. But we're here. We're going to discuss giving away the ECT, giving away the oil tanks in Trincomalee, giving away a port, giving away some other land, and so on and so forth. Chandima Weerakkody is in conversation with us, and these are sore points that need discussion. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with the Member of Parliament, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody. Now then, I am trying to move on and talk about giving away strategic assets and so on, but the questions keep coming in about this business about the over 60s and with underlying health problems. One of our viewers is asking, saying that the over 60s have already taken a big hit in terms of interest rates. Now, does the government want us, over 60s, to pay for the vaccines?
Not under any circumstances. What I said was,
Yeah.
those who, like you said, you referred to board members
Yeah.
of multinational companies or top companies in Sri
Yes,
Lanka.
not only
Those who
multinationals.
the top companies in Sri Lanka. Those who, they are the people who can afford, but not those who are retired and who are staying at home who are over 60.
Well, they
They
can't
must be
afford.
given priority to be given the vaccination free.
Right.
And we must understand, like of course, if we can double the vaccination immediately, certainly that will be the best solution. But we must understand, we must look at all these things in Sri Lankan context. This is a situation that has affected the economy and people of every country.
Yeah.
So invariably, the richer countries, bigger countries, they gain priority when securing orders. That's even you go to the villages, that's the way. So likewise, we will have to fight to get.
Do you think President, sorry to change the subject a bit, but it's driven by these messages. Do you think President Rajapaksa will be able to do a SWRD and buy back our strategic assets like Hambantota Port?
Well, it's very difficult now, as of now, because that time the manner in which international relations were conducted is very different to what it is today.
Right.
That time it was direct. They used to acquire, fight open, face to face, kill the other leader and take over.
Right.
But now it's not the same case.
It's a bit different.
It's very difficult. So we have to be diplomatic. And I hope that
yeah.
the President Rajapaksa is in a position to safeguard Sri Lankan interest for the betterment of our future and the future generations.
When you were in charge of petroleum, another question here, when you were in charge of petroleum, the CPC advertised internationally for working capital, to facilitate working capital requirements, and it was an international advertisement. You got lots of responses. Your board went, the CPC board went so far as to even give a letter of award. And it seemed to be on pretty attractive terms with 28 grace period and so on and so forth, and a pretty low interest rate at the time, 1%. Now, what happened to that? It was $2 billion.
Well, after I left the ministry, I don't know what happened. All that came to a standstill. But what I had in mind was, during my time, I could generate the highest ever profit in the history of CPC.
Was that a notional profit or a real profit?
That was a real profit. That was a real
How
profit.
did you achieve it?
Well, we had very transparent operations, and then especially oil purchasing agreements like amended in such way that we get the best, CPC and the country gets the best, and we allowed open competitive business, and also demurrages were zero. We were able to bring demurrages to zero. So lot of such unnecessary expenditure was cut off, and then unloading facility which was abandoned in Muthurajavela was initiated, and such immediate action were taken. And as a result of that, and then we had huge loans, and we paid huge interest. So that my idea was to compensate such huge loans with huge interest rates with a loan with a reasonably low interest rate, so that the burden of the CPC would have been very less to the economy and to the corporation.
Well, it's a pity because our current struggle would be less had that been put in place.
Absolutely. Had we been able to develop the tank farm as we designed and as it was approved, by today we would have been having a stock, because the prices are absolutely low during the past and now it's picking up. So had you had enough capacity, and we had plans of putting up a tank farm in KKs, everything was designed and money was allocated, but it didn't take off thereafter. And we have asked for Hambantota tank farm, that was not given. So if we had those facility, today we are laughing as a country.
The opportunity is lost. Now then, here's a fascinating question. Do you know the vaccine that you parliamentarians are entitled, and some of you have got? Are you paying for it? Is that going to be deducted from your salary?
No, in fact, we, even at the group meeting, a lot of us volunteered to pay it.
Right.
It was proposed not by me,
Right.
by many parliamentarians, to allow importation of the vaccine by the private sector, and especially as members of parliament to set an example by paying for the vaccine.
Now, why was that shut down?
Well, I think that's probably a policy decision that the government has taken. So we are not in a position to be only backbenchers. We can suggest, we can give our opinion through media.
Can't
Of
you
course,
send a check to the consolidated fund?
you can't do like that. You can't just draw checks and send that way.
Right.
There has to be a policy decision taken by the government.
Right.
So we have to act in compliance with the decisions taken by the government.
There are several questions that the public are facing. One is, of course, the deforestation. It's going on at an alarming rate, and nobody seems to have a care in the world about that. The human-elephant conflict is probably driven by the fact that humans are encroaching on their territory, and they haven't got a voice, apart from the voice of the people.
Well, you can't say that. I mean, this is probably the first government that has appointed a minister to look into elephants' affairs. And this now everyone is alert. Government is even using helicopters to see as to whether deforestation is happening.
Or are they
illicitly.
Yes, are they using the helicopters to identify nice bits of land?
No, to find out. I mean, this is very open now. They would have, any government 10, 15 years, 20 years ago would have been able to do that. But now social media is alert. Government can't, act arbitrarily. Everyone is exposed. So, but now, don't you think, now people have started talking about it. People, even when the president takes a decision, people can openly criticize. I mean, isn't that a good move? People are alert. So government, even the public officials.
However,
those days,
these things happen.
But
I mean, they cleared part of the forest for a road.
yeah, in the past, these type of things happen every other day and everything went unnoticed. And the officials, some of the officials who are upright, who stand right, are now compensated, they are highlighted, they are praised. But those days, only the corrupt officials were able to survive, and they made a lot of money at the cost of the forest. I mean, you and I know, some time back, every timber, that's protected timber, was available to buy, but now it's not the case. Now the forest officials, police, even the military is very effective. Of course, there are still incidents that take place, but what people should do is to be alert and push the government to do the right thing. I think it's happening now. So, there is no way that a politician can get involved.
If the people push the government, will they?
They have to push.
Will they end up being shot?
No.
No.
I mean, I have to be frank. Politicians, military officials, public servants, they were all involved in those some time back. But now it's not possible. Now it is, of course, some are doing it, but they get exposed. So we have to
watch out.
Yeah, we watch out.
Watch out. The people are watching. Chandima Weerakkody, thank you very much. It's now time for the primetime news from News First. Take care. Have a great evening ahead of you. Thank you for sending your questions. And as always, God bless you.
Thank you, Faraz, for inviting.